Hey everybody, Lance, the option teacher here. Today we're going to go over economic news, earnings reports, and economic and technical analysis for October 27th to 31st. I have a pretty big earnings week coming up next week. So if you look at the volatility is fairly low in general. It's at the 16 now. We had a pretty decent spike on the 17th of October, and then we've just been decaying out. VIX tends to mean revert, so when you have a relatively big spike over time, this is very quickly, but over time it typically gets to around the 15 to 19 range. Look at SPY, pretty much near all-time highs again. And yeah, I think we actually touched the all-time highs, recovered a bit from previous part of the week. I have a little issues there. What I do is I go to the 30, back to the day. All right, so yeah, you can see it's consolidating near the EMAs. We did cross above the 9 in blue and the 21 EMA in purple. So it is a pretty bullish setup. MACD did curl up on the daily. RSI slope is increasing and not overbought yet, so fairly bullish on SPY. If you look at the Qs, it's very similar, like it is most weeks. First all-time highs again, cross on the MACD. RSI is sloping upward, not overbought yet. So bullish there. IWM had a big update on Friday, and you can see the MACD starting to curl in the positive direction. Might have a little bit more room, and the high was at 252. We closed at 249, so not near the all-time highs, or very close to it. Let's look at the earnings reports. So again, you don't see much economic reports because government data impacted by the shutdown. The 27th, nothing important. 30th, HPI is not usually that relevant. 29th, do have oil, inventories, FOMC statement, and press conference. So Wednesday probably will happen with the government shutdown. I think it still happens even if the government shut down. However, you got to check on that. So definitely check on the market to see what happens on that Wednesday. Thursday, possible GDP, gas shortages. So a bit on the oil and gas. And then on nice Halloween, employment cost index, which may or may not happen. Earnings for next week are pretty big. We'll look at a few possible stocks here. For the Monday, nothing that big. Tuesday, not big, and Wednesday is a big day for the tech sector. We have Microsoft, Meta, Google, Starbucks. On the tech sector, we have some consumer staples, Coca-Cola, Chipotle, also Carvana. So Wednesday's going to be a big day, especially with FOMC. So from FOMC into Thursday, we could have quite a bit of movement. Check the VIX, check what the earnings are. Thursday, you have Microsoft, Altria, S&P Group, Roblox. Then after close Thursdays, Amazon, Apple. The really big names and large caps coming up. That's why we could see some movement there. Let's just look at a few of these. If it lets me. It's frozen. All right. Let's go to good old trading view. We'll look at Microsoft first. This is using the Theta Pro indicator that members have where it says to sell puts or sell calls and shows direction of momentum. Right now, Microsoft's on a sell put, the 522. You can see the recent low, fairly recent low, 495. You see a few consolidation support levels at the 506. If you have some negative earnings or future outlook, you might get to the 506. Otherwise, we're in a pretty bullish setup on the EMAs. Amazon. Amazon's looking fairly bullish as well. We just hit the sell put indicator above the EMAs. It's trading in a relative range between around 233-ish to around the 213. Apple, I'm pretty bullish in general. We are near the top of the Bollinger Bands, which might start widening out right before earnings. And near a recent high at 263. See that support at 244. Google will be the last one. We did hit the upper Bollinger Band on Google. So it's pretty bullish, but we might see a bounce down. These are all possible positions that I'll look to sell credit spreads in the membership. So if you're interested, you want to join quarterly plan or the Inner Circle lifetime plan, and I'll typically sell credit spreads right after earnings, depending on what the earnings were, what the future outlook is, where possible support levels are, and getting enough premium to make the risk return preference ideal. So if you're interested, you can click on the link in the description down below, and I'll be going over these credit spread setups. Again, Lance from Office and Teacher, and you guys have a good rest of the weekend, and I'll see you on the next one.